Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Some of us predicted on this platform and many other platforms that Chamisa was only on a sabbatical. All this talk about, oh, he has retired from politics, he's not coming back, was all nonsense. He is coming back. And what is more, we expected him to do exactly what he did in the past. When he comes back, he wants to forget all about what happened in the past. No explanation given. Turn over a new page. And it's politics, business as usual. Chamisa is going to drag the nation into the 2028 elections with not even a token reform implemented. Tell the people that he is going to win these elections. He has covered all the Zanu PF vote rigging abilities, only for Zanu PF to rig the elections, get legitimacy, and then he will start complaining again that Zanu PF has rigged. We have been down this road before, and now we are back on it again. This is so predictable, so disappointing, so frustrating. Ben, are you surprised?
Good day to you all. I'm not surprised. It's getting annoying, really. You know, for the new to be born or to kick in, the past must pass away. You know, let's go back. The reason why CCC was formed was to get away from MDC, and then that was supposed to be the new thing. Now we are getting rid of the new thing, going into another thing. We're probably going to get rid of this new thing and go into another thing after 2028 because we know what is going to happen in 2028. Zanu PF, like you said, is going to rig the elections, get away with it, and then, the blame is going to be put on whatever the lieutenants that are left in the current that are still following him. They're going to get the blame, and probably he's going to take another sabbatical and come back with a new thing that is born. We've been here before, and this is why I'm saying it's becoming annoying because we are doing the same thing over and over again without fixing the problem. And I know he knows the problem, but he doesn't want to fix it. Why? He doesn't want to be, answerable to what are the failings of the previous. Jeez.
Well, as for why he doesn't want to fix it, the truth of the matter is MDC leaders had the golden opportunity to fix Zimbabwe's failed political system during the 2008 to 2013 GNU. That was the golden opportunity to fix it. They failed to implement even one token reform during that period. And at the end of the 5 years, SADC, credit where credit is due, said to Tsvangirai and company, do not go into the 2013 elections without reforms. Because if you do, Zanu PF will rig those elections. But Tsvangirai and company ignored the warning and they went ahead because they believed that they were so popular, they will still win the elections regardless of any voting shenanigans by Zanu PF. This is at the heart of our problem. Of course, they didn't win them. Zanu PF went on to blatantly rig them. And ever since, the MDC guys have been participating in flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, knowing fully well that by participating they're giving Zanu PF political legitimacy. They've gone ahead regardless, out of greed. Pure and simple. I think the annoying thing, in my view, is that the people of Zimbabwe themselves have been very, very slow in reading the writing on the wall. As much as Zanu PF is a part of thugs, it took the people of Zimbabwe about 20 years to finally accept that reality. It was not until the late 1990s that people realized Zanu PF was a part of thugs, and as long as the party has got carte blanche powers to rig the elections, there will be no meaningful change in the country. At that point, the people decided that they needed to elect opposition who will implement reforms and deliver the democratic change necessary to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. MDC was launched in 1999 to answer that call. And they gave themselves the political name, Movement for Democratic Change, to answer that very precise call. But after 24 years, it's shocking that the people of Zimbabwe themselves have failed to realize that MDC, CCC, have failed to implement even one token reform. And they've been participating in these flawed elections out of greed. That is a fundamental weakness that we cannot turn our blind eye to and always look at Zanu PF. Why would Zanu PF want to change if they've now got a partner keeping them in power and meanwhile calling people to participate in flawed elections? Zanu PF is quite happy. And to be quite honest, Chamisa and company are also quite happy. They will keep on participating in these flawed elections for their share of the spoils of power. Here is Margaret Dongo speaking to that very point, that the opposition is no longer fighting in the people's corner. MDC CCC are no longer fighting in the people's corner. Yes, they are running during the day with the povo hair, but at night they are hunting with the Zanu PF hounds. And they've been doing this ever since the GNU. Let's just listen to Margaret Dongo, what she was saying in this video.
You get a stable salary and you are paid until your term is over. Already you are employed. If you are out, you're out of employment.
If you serve 2 terms, you get a pension?
You get a pension. Then already, this is why people kill in politics. They kill to be in parliament. This is why we have violence in this country, because there is no employment. The only employment which is there is in politics. There is no other outside employment. So for them, a very good example is, look at what happened to CCC, the CCC party. Have a look. When they lost, when they said they were rigged, what I expected from them, I expected all parliamentarians to say, we are not going to go to participate in a rigged system, and we are not going to sit in a rigged parliament, because the elections have been rigged. So all of us were not going to parliament. Imagine what could have happened. We could have gone into new elections. There's no way Zanu PF was going to rule alone.
You think so?
Yes.
Do they care?
caring or not caring, the public would have forced them because the majority of the people would want representation in parliament.
I think we'll stop it right there. Ben, this is one of the things that we have got to ask ourselves. Why have the people done nothing when CCC decided they were going to participate regardless? The people themselves said nothing.
You know, a wise philosopher said there are three types of groups or people in a community. There is the idiot, there is the tribesman, you know, and I forgot the last one. You know, and the citizen. You know, unfortunately, we have a lot of idiots in our community. No offense, but this is what it is. I mean, I'll give you an example. You know, where somebody talks of Vision 2030 and you cannot see the vision, and the groundwork is not being laid to get to that actual vision. And when it's being spoken about, they ululate, they sing praise. This is exactly what is happening even within the opposition. You know, nobody is asking for accountability. That's the first thing. The idiot will not ask for accountability, but sing praise, where praise is not even, you know, being merited. This is our problem. Zimbabweans, the citizens of Zimbabwe, or the people of Zimbabwe, have failed to ask questions to those that hold public office. They have, instead they have, since now being the protectors of dictators, they will fight to defend even the most foolish ideology ever. I am going to win, rigged elections. For 24 years, you've been doing that and you have been failing. But somebody will defend to say, Chamisa is the right candidate. Chamisa chete. Look, if that is a position that you are going to be taking, then this is why, and this explains why we are here today. And that should answer, the question to say, why have we failed? We have idiots, and a lot of them, and they share the same similarities, be it they're in Zanu or CCC or this new thing or new deal that is coming. It's the same thing. The idiots will follow and will forget that anybody that holds public office is accountable to us. We have the right to ask questions, to demand for answers. And this is where our problem lies. We have, blind loyalty. We are like Ganus. We just run through the Mara River and plunge to our death. Yet there is a better way of going, about it. Sadly, this is what Zimbabweans are: wildebeest, clueless, brainless.
I have to agree with you there. I think we cannot deny that the problem in Zimbabwe, yes, we've got the problem with the ruling party. It's a part of thugs. Yes, they've denied the ordinary Zimbabwean a meaningful say in the governance of the country. The people themselves had made the right move in risking all to elect an opposition leaders who will implement the reforms. But after 24 years of MDC CCC, it's shocking that the people themselves, even now, with the benefit of hindsight, they failed to accept that MDC CCC have failed them. I've spent a lot of time, many hours, arguing with people over the point Chamisa lied to the people when he said he had plugged all the vote-rigging loopholes. While some people accept that the 2023 elections were rigged, they will accept that Zanu PF rigged those elections. And yet, for some reason, they still refuse to accept that Chamisa had lied, that he had plugged the vote-rigging loopholes. They were gaping loopholes. There was no verified voters roll. He failed to deploy election agencies at polling stations. Something as basic as that. But to get these people to accept that Chamisa lied has been a bridge too far. Why they cannot accept that Chamisa lied beggars belief. But you only understand it when you understand that some of them consider Chamisa to be infallible, a demigod. This is where this Chamisa chete mentality comes in, the personality cult mentality. Chamisa cannot do anything wrong. Here is an interview that Chamisa gave to BBC. He tried to lie to BBC. They confronted him with the evidence. And even then, his last position was, he didn't say it. Even when there is the evidence played in his face, him standing up and saying the lie that he had met President Trump. Let's listen to this interview.
Ende patakasangana na Trump akatibvunza naye akomana mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
Serious questions were raised about your behaviour in Washington, D.C. You did see some senior people on Capitol Hill, some Congress people, but you also claimed that you'd seen Donald Trump. You claimed you had a conversation with him in which you said he asked you how much you needed to move the country forward. You told him $15 billion, and he said to you that he would provide the money if you won the election. That was not true, was it?
Sangana na Trump akatibvunza naye akomana.
It was not true that you'd seen Donald Trump and that Donald Trump indicated to you that he would provide, if you won the election, $15 billion.
All those statements were said by other people, not what I said.
Well, no, because there is a video which shows you at a rally in January back home in Zimbabwe saying that Donald Trump had pretty much promised you $15 billion. To be clear, because some people in Zimbabwe are still confused, you're now telling me you did not meet Donald Trump.
We did not.
This is at the heart of our problem. We have got politicians who are corrupt, incompetent, and even lie in our faces. And yet, we seem to be incapable of holding them to account. Chamisa is going to tell the people of Zimbabwe he is going to win 2028. He has plugged all the vote-rigging loopholes, and people will participate in their millions. And if you participate, you are giving Zanu PF legitimacy. And if once you have participated, you cannot turn around and look to SADC or some other people and say, oh, hold Zanu PF to account. No, you can't do that. You have participated knowing fully well that the election process is flawed. I think this, Ben, is what I find so disappointing about Zimbabweans.
It's our, inability to hold priorities, or to think for ourselves, that has hindered any meaningful progress of Zimbabwe getting ourselves out of this mess. Like you said, people will go out of their way to protect their leaders, come what may, even if the evidence is clear as daylight, to say this is a lie, this doesn't work. People will stand firm. In fact, they will defend with their lives on that position that the leader has said. This is why I draw, the picture to say Zimbabweans are like wildebeest. They follow whoever is ahead. If the one that is ahead goes and plunges over a cliff, it's going to be a bloodbath for everybody that is following. They will all go and plunge to their death. Our inability to have principles, to stand and to say, no, you lied, that this year election will be won, to an extent that God was even invoked in the speech to say the cabinet has already been organized in heaven, nothing short of a victory. And here we are. He's taken a sabbatical. He's refreshing. We are now having to bear the cross of 5 years of Zanu PF governance. And then, like you said again, come near 2028, this new that has been born out of the old is going to kick in and take us through yet another 5 years to 2033, because the Zanu PF is going to rig the 2028 elections, come what may. And we know this. We can never pretend, or we can never wish it away. Zanu PF will rig the 2028 elections, drag us through another 5 years of harsh and terrible rule, of destruction and everything involved. And, we will gladly follow our leaders, no matter the harshest conditions that we are subjected to. If this is not an idiot's mentality or an idiot's way, then I don't know how best we can describe how Zimbabwe will get itself out of this mess. It's going to be near impossible if we cannot catch on now, to what is happening.
That is really the tragedy with Zimbabwe. It is within our powers to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. At the present moment, the best way to do it is to stop participating in flawed elections that are so flawed that we can see that the process is flawed. SADC has told us the process is flawed. The AU told us the last year's elections were flawed. And yet somebody comes along and says, no, I've plugged all the vote rigging loopholes. And we believe him. If we are that naive, then yes, we deserve to suffer. And unfortunately, there are millions of others who really do not deserve to suffer, who will suffer as a consequence of that foolish decision. Thank you very much, those of you who were able to join us today. And we hope we'll be able to meet you again tomorrow night, same time, 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. Have a good evening.